In the developmental biology, in this video we will discuss about the patterns of cleavage. Cleavage. What is cleavage? Cleavage means what? Division or divide. Cleavage is a series of mitotic division whereby the enormous volume of egg cytoplasm is divided into numerous smaller nucleated cells. Cleavage means what? Cleavage is a series of mitotic division whereby enormous volume of a egg cytoplasm. Whole egg ಏನ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That is called as cleavage. Cleavage is the division of the egg into blastomeres. This is a division of the egg into smaller cells. That cells is called as blastomeres. It is the segmentation of zygote. Zygote means what? What is zygote? After the male and female pronuclei during the fertilization fuse together to form the zygote. This zygote will divide into a smaller cellular units called as blastomeres. That is called as cleavage. Cleavage means division of egg into small cells called as blastomeres. Cleavage is the division of egg into blastomeres. Okay, this cleavage is initiated by the appearance of a groove or constriction called as cleavage furrow. First, one ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತೆಗ್ ಬಿದ್ದಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ತೈತಿ cell. Sorry. Then the furrow extends to the other end and the whole egg is divided. Next, next, planes of cleavage. It is not in the syllabus, just for basic knowledge. Cleavage is initiated by the appearance of groove or constriction called cleavage furrow. First, one furrow or one kade divide ತೆಗ್ ಬಿದ್ದಂಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಅದರ್ ಪೋಲ್ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Then the egg is divided. These are the four planes: meridional, vertical, equatorial plane, latitudinal plane. This is not in the syllabus, but you have to understand the planes of cleavage. Okay, meridional cleavage. The plane of cleavage lies on the animal vegetal axis. It bisects both the poles of the egg. Thus, the egg is divided into two equal halves. Meridional plane means ಇದು ಹೆಂಗಾಗತ್ತ, animal pole ದಿಂದ vegetal pole through the central axis ಹಿಂಗ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ this is called as meridional plane. Next, see here, animal pole is vegetal pole. It cuts through the animal vegetal axis. First cleavage. Next, vertical plane. The cleavage furrows may be lie on the either side of the meridional plane. The furrow pass from animal pole to vegetal pole. The cleaved cells may be unequal in size. Vertical plane ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗ, meridional ಅಂದ್ರೆ animal pole to vegetal pole central axis ಇಂದ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ನು vertical means side ಗೆ, ಈ central axis animal pole to vegetal pole ಏನಿದೆ ಅದರ side ಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, center ದಿಂದ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, side ದಿಂದ ಕಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That is, here is, this is a central meridional plane, this is vertical plane, either this side or this side. Next, equatorial plane. Equatorial means it cuts, bisect the egg at right angles to the main axis. Main axis means animal pole to vegetal pole, right angle to the animal pole to the vegetal pole. It lies on the equatorial plane. It divides the egg into two halves. Equator. equator position correct equal position ಒಳಗೆ divide ಆಗುತ್ತೆ like right angle to the main axis. Next, latitudinal plane, it's a horizontal latitudinal plane. It is similar to the equatorial plane but on the either side. Suppose correct equal equator plane ಈ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ suppose equator is here, then the latitudinal plane is present on the either side. ಮೇಲಿರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲದ್ರೆ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ. This position is called as latitudinal. This one, and this is equator. Okay. These are the 4 planes. Meridional means central axis through the animal pole to the vegetal pole. Vertical means on the either side. Meridional plane ಏನೈತಲ್ಲ ಅದರ ಆಜು ಬಾಜು. Equatorial means correct center, right angle to the main axis. Then latitudinal means on the either side of the equatorial plane. This is not for your syllabus. This is for only understood purpose. Next, patterns of cleavage. ಇದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಇರೋದು ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲೀವೇಜ್. ಈಗ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲೀವೇಜ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲೀವೇಜ್ ಬರಿಬಾರ್ದು, ಓನ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ. Patterns of cleavage is 2 types, holoblastic cleavage and meroblastic cleavage. Okay. Next, what is holoblastic cleavage? Holo means whole egg. In holoblastic cleavage, the entire egg divides. It is otherwise called total or complete cleavage. It simply means the whole egg is divided to give the blastomeres. This whole egg takes part in the division. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಹೋಲ್ egg ಐತಿ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ದಿಂದ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗೈತಿ, ಎರಡು ಆಗಿದಾವ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಆಗಿದಾವ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 8 ಆಗಿದಾವ, ಎಲ್ಲ egg ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗೈತಿ. In holoblastic cleavage, when the blastomeres are equal in size, ಇಲ್ಲಿ blastomeres equal ಇರ್ತಾವ, the cleavage is said to be equal. When the blastomeres are unequal, the cleavage is called as unequal cleavage. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇಕ್ವೇಟರ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಕಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂಗಿರ್ತಾವ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಲ್ಯಾಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ನಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಕಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ the blastomeres are unequal. This is about the holoblastic cleavage. Next, in that holoblastic cleavage only, these are all comes under the holoblastic cleavage. Radial cleavage. Radial means in the radial cleavage, the blastomeres are arranged radially. Radially around the central axis of the egg. Here, see this is central axis, and the blastomeres are surrounded or around the central axis. This cleavage is called as radial cleavage. These are the patterns of cleavages. ಹೆಂಗ್ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿದಾವು? ಪ್ಲೇನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದು. ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಅರೇಂಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೆಂಗಿದೆ. The blastomeres are arranged radially around the central axis of the egg. The embryo has symmetry of wheel. ಒಂದು ಸಿಮೆಟ್ರಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ವೀಲ್ ಟೈಪ್, ಗಾಲಿ ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸರೌಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಹಂಗೆ. Any plane passing through the major embryonic axis divides the embryo into symmetrical halves. Like suppose major axis means one is meridional or another one is equator. ಈ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಕಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ that is the blastomeres are in the equal size through the central axis ಇಂದ ಕಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ blastomeres equal size ಇರುತ್ತೆ. This embryo has a radial symmetry and The cleavage producing radial symmetrical embryos is called as radial cleavage. Example, this kind of radial cleavage is found in the sea urchin. Okay, next bilateral cleavage. Bilateral means when the cleavage produces bilateral symmetry in the embryo, the cleavage is called as bilateral cleavage. Bilateral ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ on the both the lateral side same ಇರಬೇಕು. In bilateral cleavage, the blastomeres are bilaterally arranged. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಜು ಬಾಜು ಇರೋ around the arranged around the axis of the central axis of the arranged around the axis of the egg. It is modified radial cleavage. In this, one side of the embryo is mirror image to the other side. ಈ one side ಹೆಂಗೈತಿ ಸೇಮ್ ಕಂಡ್ಯಾಳ್ದ ನೋಡಿದ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಸೈಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Example, in the ascidian, cephalopods and mollusks, bilateral symmetry on the both the lateral side ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ತಾವ mirror image ಇರ್ತವೆ. Spiral cleavage. It is a holoblastic cleavage where the new blastomeres are slightly displaced, giving a spiral appearance to the embryo. Slightly displaced. Displaced ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸರ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾವ. Spiral arrangement ಆಗಿರ್ತಾವ to the embryo. In this, blastomeres are spirally arranged. Example, flatworms, nematodes, annelids and some mollusks. See the diagram. Here, first cleavage takes place, then second cleavage. Here, see these dotted lines. You'll notice. These are the larger blastomeres, light color, and darker one is smaller blastomeres. These smaller blastomeres are slightly turned to the right side. So, right side. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಕೆಳಗಿನೂ ಹಂಗೆ ಇರ್ತಾವ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್, ಮೇಲೇನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟರ್ನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟಾರ್ಷನ್ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾವ. That is called as spiral cleavage. Next, rotational cleavage. First cleavage is meridional cleavage. Rotational means the name itself suggests rotate ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. The first cleavage is meridional, and during the second cleavage, in one blastomere, the plane of cleavage passes through the polar axis. Polar axis means animal pole to the vegetal pole. But in the second blastomeres, the plane of cleavage is perpendicular to the polar axis. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂಗಾಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ, I will see the diagram. See here. Suppose this is a egg, then this is first cleavage, then second cleavage. Second cleavage means in one, these are two blastomeres. In one blastomere, it takes place like this. In one blastomere, the plane of cleavage passes through the polar axis. This one is animal pole, vegetal pole. Polar axis, animal pole to the vegetal pole. Second cleavage, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟೋಮಿಯರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂಗಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟೋಮಿಯರ್, this one is another blastomere. Here perpendicular to the polar axis. Perpendicular means horizontal. ಹಿಂಗಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಹಿಂಗ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಈ ತರ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಆಯ್ತು. This is called as rotational cleavage. In one blastomere, the plane of cleavage passes through the polar axis. Then in another one blastomere, the plane of cleavage is perpendicular to the polar axis. Perpendicular or 90 degree. Thus, during the second cleavage, the cleavage plane is in one of the two blastomeres is rotated to the 90 degree. You'll note this one here